What's happening, people? Welcome to this episode of Everything 9000. What's happening, Ishan?
I'm good, man.
A long time. I've not had you in a while.
Feels good to be back. What are you saying?
Yeah, good. Today we're going to be talking about Mr. K. Kendrick Lamar. You know, he's released an album. It's kind of hot, can't lie.
Yeah. I love it.
Mr. Morel and the Big Steppers. Last album was in 2017.
Damn.
5 years have gone. One of the first lines he says in one of his songs, he says, I've been going through something. He says 1,855 days. That's the exact amount of days that have passed since he released Damn.
Yeah.
We'll dig into it. We'll dig into what Kendrick has given on this album, what we like about it, maybe some things we don't like about it. And let's just demystify some of the songs. A couple of deep songs that just need talking about. But on the whole, what's your sort of thoughts on the album so far?
You know what? Obviously, Kendrick Lamar hasn't released something for a very long time.
You know what's mad? Where's my mic? where am I talking into? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Hello?
Yo, how did you fuck that up?
This is professional technology. Here we go, right?
We're doing that again.
Does that better? Now we'll just carry on. That's fine. We're out here podcasting, yeah. This is why Spotify needs to give us a deal. Make sure everything's in place. All right, but anyway, go on.
Yeah, I thought it was very good. The first album that I listened to by Kendrick Lamar was Good Kid, Mad City, and I remember listening to that, and I loved how it all felt like a story, when he talks about Shireen and everything. And this kind of reminded me of that. For me, I wasn't too keen on the Damn album. I thought it was good, but you know what? Out of nowhere, this was so good. And I felt like this is the kind of music that we were needing. We had one of our last podcasts was on Kanye and Drake. And obviously CLB and Donda were really good in their own different ways. Looking back on that now, they were very different, very good. But this Kendrick Lamar album is so refreshing. I think it's what hip hop needed. There have been some other good albums coming out recently as well, like Jack Harlow, etc. But this is just a really big breath of fresh air. I love the storytelling. I really loved how fearless Kendrick was in some of his lyrics in his songs, and just he hasn't lost it at all. He's still the same. He's still Kendrick. He hasn't fallen off. Yeah, maybe he was going through something for that time, and he needed to go through that to give us this masterpiece. Honestly, it's one of those albums where I've listened to so many times, I haven't got sick of it yet, and I don't even know what song is what, because it just flows so good. I don't even have time to just look at my phone. I'm just listening. So honestly, for me, amazing.
No, few things you mentioned that. Obviously, shout out Jack Harlow. I like his album too. It's really good musically.
Yeah.
He's got some bars in there. I don't think he's kind of the lyricist. He's got good flow. I think that was an album hip hop needed too, man.
Yeah.
It really brings that old school vibe back to it. Yep. It's just music you can bop to. But coming to Kendrick, he's just it's him and Cole, lyricists. Him and Cole, Eminem as well. Lyrically, they're the ones that are just changing the game. And yeah, you talk about Kendrick's been going through some stuff. I mean, one of the songs, I know you posted this song on your story as well, Auntie Diaries.
Yeah.
Did you kind of debunk that song? Did you figure out what was going on?
I listened to it a few times on the way to Birmingham today. He mentions multiple times, my auntie is a man now. He talks about...
Demetrius is Marianne now.
Yeah. He talks about just, how it's... I think he ends the song on a very powerful note that, he brought a girl on stage with him, and he didn't feel okay with, obviously, him...
her rapping along to the fact that she said the N-word.
Yeah. And he basically said it's okay for us to say F-word if you can say the N-word.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think even his... It's so... It's not brave. I mean, it is, but it's just real, man. It's just real. He's saying both things with so confidence. Another thing, right? I think if anyone else randomly said that on Twitter, they'd get shut down and everything. And he doesn't really give a shit about what anyone's saying, or anyone's gonna say. He's just putting his thoughts out there, and I think it's amazing.
So, the Auntie Diaries song, this is one of two songs that really needs discussing. And, for the listeners that haven't heard the album yet, or you haven't heard Auntie Diaries, this is just a brief explanation. What happened. He starts off talking about his aunt, who, was he's talking about the transgender community. And, this is sort of space that isn't really covered in hip hop rap a lot.
No.
Yeah. And, he's talking about the struggles she faced. His family members, his uncles were always at, that aunt's throat, right?
Yeah.
And, he goes on to those struggles, and then he talks about his cousin Demetrius. And by the way, this is all before Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah.
So
He mentions Caitlyn Jenner in the song too.
It's where it's more difficult, to talk about these things. An important thing I liked, he talks about, Demetrius, a person that has faith, believes in the church, believes in God, and the pastor of the church at that time singled out Demetrius and was like, this is what's wrong with the world today. And that made Demetrius question, like, will God still find me as a respectable person?
He had a bar in there saying I'm a little less Christian, or
he chose humanity over religion. I thought that was such a great bar. Like, it puts things into perspective, like, aren't we meant to love thy neighbor?
Yeah.
There's just loads of little things that song is just crazy. And then you went on to talk about how, he used to say faggot, faggot, faggot. And, his cousin Demetrius became partially distant with him partially because of that reason. There would have been other factors, obviously. But, and he never understood it before, but he understands it now when he went through that situation with that girl on stage, and she was singing along and rapping along to Kendrick's song. She said the M word. He felt a bit uncomfortable. But then Demetrius is like to him, look, you can't pick and choose. He always used to think words didn't have meaning. You just throw them. And if you're not saying it with intention, it's fine. But like you can't pick and choose.
He had a bar in there that he said he throw around words with a loose intent or something like that. Words are just words.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like that, like words are just words, but obviously words also do have meaning, and depending on who you say them to and the context, they can they have the ability to harm people, But what do you think the message of the song was?
The message of the song is, it's a great song. He's telling the story of his aunt, of his cousin, and the perspectives and the struggles they faced. How he noticed things, like he noticed. He said that he saw from a young age his cousin Demetrius, the way he used to play with Barbie dolls and stuff. Other people are saying, "Oh, I never saw that in him." He did. He's like, it's just like there's certain choices he had to make. The way society is, the way religion is. It's like he went against them.
Yeah.
And therefore, and by doing that, he became closer to his family.
Yeah.
And that was the message he was saying. It's like, just sometimes I don't know. That's what I took from it.
Yeah.
Sometimes make your own decision.
I think more than anything, it's just a real story.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us even know if it's real. I mean, I haven't met Demetrius or anything. But it's great storytelling. And
that's what Kendrick's best at.
And exactly. And the thing is, and one thing I love about this album is that, like, I'm pretty sure if we had Amrit on here or anyone else listening, they could have their own take of what that song means.
Yeah.
To people that are even from the transgender community, it would be so interesting to see, like, how they feel by listening to that song, or you can draw so many meanings from that. Maybe there's something that we haven't deciphered yet. Who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely a song that needs like a few listens. Another song that needs a few listens is Mother I Sober.
Yo, that is actually my favorite song.
Right.
Like, last night, right, I was doing some work till about 2 a.m. and that song was on repeat all the time. He touches so many things in that, but I don't know if you probably have the list of everything.
Yeah,
in that song.
I mean,
I love that song.
Well, normally Kendrick, he doesn't really give much of himself away. He's all about this character that has control.
Yeah.
And doesn't really he likes to know everything. But this album, a lot of people are saying he's let go of that control element a bit. He's opened up about himself. And this song is like, wow. Like,
it's deep.
Really, you're telling us this. Like, he's talking about generations of abuse that has been going on in his family. Stuff with his mom, his uncle, and him.
Yeah.
Sexual abuse. He uses the word rape in the song, which, you can't take lightheartedly. To rap about stuff like that, it's hard. And, it's like he's talking about his experiences. He opens up about that. He even mentions little things, saying every other rapper is sexually abused.
I was just about to say that. And he was like, but we hide them with their tattoos or something like that.
And it's like, sometimes you question the way we dress, etc. But what do you think about our background?
In a way, like, what I really got from that was like, I think his intent of that song, I'm sure there are many, but what I really gathered was that was his song for like a lot of rappers, like like his peers, that people don't know what they've been through. It's so easy for us to like judge Drake or Eminem or any celebrity because they're there, you know, they must be cool because they have all the money, right? But the truth is, we don't know them. They're hiding through a lot of pain too. So I think that was really nice that Kendrick like
show some vulnerability.
Yeah, it does, because the truth is they're just humans too. And yeah, amazing.
Well, you know, I saw some comments on the N95 music video, which I just love. Like, it's just aesthetically, it's a masterpiece for me anyway. It's the way it's shot, just the concepts, just the imagery, you know. It's just, you know, it's really good. And one of the comments was, you know, people were saying they listen to this music and then feel ready to deal with their childhood pain.
Wow.
And you know, if music is having that impact on people, because don't forget, he is older, he's what, 34, and he's maybe from a different generation to us, slightly, you know, he's in that mid, you know,
about 8 years older.
Yeah, and that generation, that's like solid late 80s, solid 90s generation, that is, they don't really talk about,
you know,
stuff like this.
You know what I think the best musicians, artists, goes beyond just music, have the capability to do. There's something you told me as well. If a film has the capability to invoke emotion in you,
then they've done the job.
That's it. You could do that through clothing. You could do that through any artistic like art form. For example, when Drake makes me miss exes I don't even have. That's the truth. That's the truth. I feel so sad sometimes thinking like, you know, I haven't done half these things, you know, like when I listen to Jay-Z, he makes me feel like I'm on top of the world. But the truth is, I'm a bit of a loser, right? These are all, this is showing how powerful and how good they are at doing what they love to do. The same way Kendrick's opened up about his vulnerabilities, his storytellings, if people can relate to them and now they feel they can deal with their own experiences of sexual abuse or anything he's talking about, that's it. Great artist, right?
Great artistry. That's it. I mean, other artists have done this in the past. You know, Jay-Z in Smile, he talked about his mom when she came out and being gay. So, you know, obviously it's been done, but, you know, you just know when you listen to a Kendrick album. I was actually chatting to Kips, shout out Kips. You know, he's listened to the music. He's a great J. Cole fan. I knew he'd appreciate this album too. And he was like, oh, I'm at the gym at the moment. It's not the vibe. I'm going to get home later and deep some of the lyrics. Yeah. And that's exactly the vibe that this is. You know, you're just like, it's probably one of those, you just let it soak in and you just think about, wow, how has he just collated all this? It's art. It's art. You know, another song that you said, you know, you spoke about invoking emotion. Another song is We Cry Together. Yo. I don't know if you heard that one. That's that domestic argument.
Bro. That was the first song. So basically, when I listened to this album, right, the first time I listened to it, I'd finished work. I'm in my vibe. I lit a little candle in my room and I was like, I'm going to listen to this song. I'm going to listen to the album.
That could have gone a totally different way.
Bro, when I'm telling you, when I heard that song, I put the volume up. I was like, yo, I'm not going to lie. I love that song.
Okay.
I genuinely love that song. To me, it's so real. Again, it's a crazy story because I don't know if you know how it ends, but it turns from fuck you to fuck me.
Yeah,
you know, like it's like it's another story through an argument.
Yeah.
And I'm so sure people in relationships, I don't know if people have argued like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that's relatable. I thought it was a great song.
I've spoken to a couple of people and they really like that song too. For me, it was just a bit like, I don't know, it like made me feel a bit uncomfortable, like listening to it. And I was like, is like, you almost question, is this music? It was a bit like, you know, Eminem's Love the Way You Lie. Like that argument type provocative. But it takes it to another level. Yeah, it takes it on another level. But yeah, that song, it also raises points such as the crimes of Harvey Weinstein and the rise of Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly. It went deep.
I obviously, look, we're going to sing the praise of Kendrick because he's one of the GOATs, especially of this generation. You know, at the end of this podcast, we'll come to that question, you know, who's sitting on the throne right now, right? But I was just Googling, I was like, let me try and see what some critics are saying. you know, because how can you...
You love this thing. Have you done it?
I've done it. And some people, they're rating it like... They're criticising, they're still rating it 7 out of 10. So, you know, it's good. You can't deny it's a good piece of work. Obviously, you know, it's an 18-part album. It's split into 18 tracks, 75 minutes long, split into 2, you know, Mr. Morale and then the Big Steppers. Mr. Morale is more your sort of fun side. You've got your kids such as tracks such as Die Hard, Good Listens, etc. And then you come to the Big Steppers, which is a lot of the songs that I think you're fucking with as well. Obviously, Purple Hearts is on there, good song as well.
That the one with Summer Walker?
Yeah. Good song. Good song.
Really good.
So some of the critics are saying, like, you know, at the end of the N95 song, where Kendrick's like, what the fuck are you saying about cancel culture, blah, 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 I'll say what I want, I'm Oprah.
I love that song as well.
The critics are saying, like, he just touches on that, but then it doesn't really mean anything. And I get it. It's like, you know, when I hear that, I love that part of the song, but then the song just finishes. It's like, I want you to tell me more about that. He just kind of says it a bit superfluous.
But the same way, you know, in... How have I forgot the song? Auntie Diaries. The way he ends that.
Yeah.
He ends it on such a cliffhanger as well. He could have gone so much deeper into that. I feel like people need to understand, for me, right, this song, I mean, Kendrick is capable of making bangers, like, for the club, like Swimming Pools.
But he's past it.
Yeah, but, like, he's been on so many big songs. But you need to realise that a work like this is, the intention is, like, to listen to the whole album as a whole body of work. Maybe he didn't dive deeper into that. People, look what he said about cancel culture, and then he's literally saying faggot, and like the things he's talking about can be very uncomfortable. You know, like some people could get cancelled about this shit. And I mean, we've done a podcast on cancel culture. I can't even remember what I said in that.
You hate cancel culture.
Yeah, I think cancel culture should be fucking cancelled, man.
Yeah.
I mean, these are my views, man. Like, because art is art. You know, one thing that this album really reminded me about is, like, if you look at Tyler, the Creator's work in his early days and even now, he doesn't give a shit about anything. Like, artists like Drake, maybe artists like Drake are actually a lot more concerned with their public image. For example, I think when Drake dropped Scorpion, and there, around the same time there was a whole controversy regarding Michael Jackson, that the song Don't Matter to Me with Michael Jackson, he cancelled that from his set list at all of his tours. Do you think Kendrick Lamar would have done that? No.
Well, Kendrick Lamar, he brought on Baby Keem, who's on trial for assault and battery or something like that. You know, it's almost like how Kanye on Donda 2 or Donda. I don't want to mess with that. I don't know what I've pressed. But anyway, it's almost like how Kanye West brought DaBaby into Donda. And it's almost like that, you know what, I don't care what they're going through, I'm still going to choose the people that I
exactly. You know one thing, right? Everyone can make mistakes, man. Obviously, some mistakes go a bit too far. I'm not advocating them. I'm not saying that, hey, man, let's let pedophiles rap. Like, I'm not saying that at all, man. But I'm saying that, look, artists have a right and should be allowed to work with other people if they can appreciate their art.
Yeah, I mean, overall, overall album-wise, it's definitely one. He's produced a good body of work.
I genuinely think it's amazing. Let me ask you a question, right? What are your top 3 songs?
I'm actually, you know, N95. I like the beat and everything too. I like the tone switch ups. It feels like there's different rappers on the song.
You know, one thing I didn't even understand, but let's just talk about it now anyway. When he was talking about Drake and Kanye, it was like when Kanye got with Drake, he didn't understand.
Yeah.
What didn't he understand?
He doesn't understand
that how two people can have that level of beef and then just get back together.
I read it as he's hinting at, you know, they did it for
clout or something.
To hype up album sales, and you know, it was like almost like literally 1 month they're arguing at each other's throats, and the next
then Kanye is at Drake's house.
And then Drake was at that Harry Hoover concert.
Yeah. So,
you know, he's from. Don't forget where he's from, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're from. Is it Detroit? Or is it No, he's from Compton. Right?
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he's from Compton.
Yeah, Compton. Yeah.
So, you know, Compton is
Yeah.
the hood.
Yeah.
When they're beefing, they're beefing. So he's probably looking at that like, that's not even beef to me.
What's the point of it? Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was a different kind of beef. I think that was just two artists going at each other to be
probably
like
more like an ego battle.
It was, man.
Yeah.
They both just wanted the throne.
But who's got the throne? That was my question to finish this
Drake and Kanye.
No, in the rap game. Because you know, a lot of people still have Cole. A lot of people got Drake.
Before we get there, let me tell you my favorite songs. Right, you know, one song that we haven't even talked about is actually one of my favorite songs on this album. Is "Count Me Out."
Oh, I like that song as well.
Is that yeah?
Yeah,
so
I like that song.
For me, the songs I'm listening to most at the moment is "Count Me Out."
Yeah.
"Mother I Sober."
Yeah.
Auntie Diaries.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave my top 3 at that. And you actually asked me this question like about 10 minutes ago. I didn't actually answer it.
Go on.
You said, "Is the song We Cry Together, is that like something we can?" I don't know. Is that something you can actually listen to or like vibe to?
That's what I mean. This album isn't like that. Well, this is what I mean. The first part, Mr. Morale, is that sort of.
I don't think you'll find one song on here that will pop when we go to Barcelona in the club. But "I'm Too Sexy" by Drake will, just remember that. And that's why Drake is still on top of the throne.
You think he's on the throne?
You know what? What? We're talking about the throne of the whole rap game. I think this becomes like too much of a different subject. Bro, who knows, man?
But Kendrick's basically saying, "I'm not going anywhere." He's still there.
Yeah, and he came back. You know one thing. So you mentioned this a few times in this podcast. Oh, Cole. I love J. Cole, right? But I don't think J. Cole has been as consistent with his quality as people like Kendrick. For example, J. Cole and Kendrick, none of them have the work rate as Drake. I don't think like Drake's work rate is like up there. So he's even on features of Jack Harlow's album. He's on random albums everywhere. So when you expect people like J. Cole or Kendrick to like come back, you're really expecting something like to be amazing. Kendrick definitely done that. He definitely said, "I'm not going anywhere. If anything, I'm back and I'm better and I'm touching on more things." So right now is
for me, if I had to choose lyrically between J. Cole and Kendrick,
I'd pick Kendrick.
No, I couldn't choose. You know, J. Cole might even have it. It's like who do you want, Zidane or Ronaldinho? I'll take them both. I can't choose. But anyway, yeah, you know, overall, it's a good album. Check it out. Drop a comment. You know, let us know what your favorite song is. Let us know what you think about the album, and let us know what you want us to talk about on Everything 9000 next.